7 money traps you want to avoid in your 20s. Now, when I say 20s, I mean 20s to 30s, but there are a lot of people out there that are in their mid 40s, in their mid 50s, in their mid 60s, even 90 years old, even 85 years old, and they're still being controlled and are still in the traps that could have been avoided way back in their 20s. Now, guys, my name is TommyBryson. If you don't know me, you're gonna know me, and if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe and like and leave a comment after the video and let me know if you have fallen for any of these traps that I'm about to mention. Now, trap number one that you want to avoid at all costs is actually having an expensive partner. Now, either if you're a female or a male, we all know that we all have this expensive partner that sometimes, or you might meet this person during your entire love life, during your entire relationship life, that is an expensive person. Like, they're high cost, high maintenance. Have you ever guys, like, I know a lot of guys know this, like, there are a lot of females out there that they're like high cost, high maintenance, and you always have to take them to like fancy dinners. You always have to do a lot of stuff, like buy them gifts all the time, and that's very high maintenance, right? And it all seems very good in the beginning, because guess what, it's just the beginning. But what happens when you marry this person and now you went from the beginning to the next 60 years in your life, doing all these things to maintain this person happy, because that person may feel as if that's their right, that's just how things are, and now you're stuck in this entire trap of you make money, maybe that person makes some money too, or they stay at home, and you're making money just to satisfy that person, and you're never going to make enough money. You're always going to be in the same loop, making money, spending money, and staying in the same place. Me personally, I've honestly seen some friends that are facing the same situation, right, where they have a high cost partner, and I even have some friends that are that high cost partners themselves, right? And a lot of people don't want to leave their partner just because they're spending a lot of money. And a lot of people, I recommend that instead of you leaving that person, maybe you want to try to level them up. What I mean by level up, if you've seen some of my videos before, is try to improve that person, try to point out the things that are wrong with that, and try to point out why you might not want to spend all your money on gifts, on dates, and all these things. And depending on that person's reaction, you can tell if that's someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with, or if that's someone that you might want to cut out while you're still ahead. Now, the second money trap that I actually learned to avoid in my 20s, and by the way, I'm in my 20s, by the way, so every single thing that I'm doing right now, I'm telling you this because I myself have avoided it, but I do have some friends that haven't avoided it and are trapped. And when I say trapped, it's like a constant loop. Have you ever had the fear of if you're working and you stop working and you get fired, you're like completely like effed up? Like, that's the fear. That's the trap. That's why you want to avoid all these things at all costs. The second one is probably credit card fees. And by the way, guys, I say 20s to 30s because a lot of people start making the bulk of their money in their 20s to 30s. Why? Because that's usually when they graduate from college or when they start looking for jobs. Now, back to credit card fees, right? When I say credit card fees, I don't mean like using credit cards, because there are a lot of people out there, a lot of gurus, a lot of people that are constantly advising you guys on YouTube that are telling you, hey, don't use a credit card, but try to build your credit score, and it's completely counteractive, right? What I recommend is whatever you choose to do with your credit card, always pay it off at the end of the month. Why? Because an APR on a credit card, and by the way, that's annual percentage yield, an APR on a credit card can be as high as 28%, even 29% I've seen on some cards, right? That means that on average, you're going to pay 29% worth of interest on whatever money you borrowed. And for you to even get that money back from one of your investments, if you're doing stocks or real estate or anything like that, you have to triple your return, because the average return on the stock market is like 7% a year. So you want to keep that in mind. What I recommend personally, and what I've actually been doing for like a really long time is, by the way, I have like 6 credit cards, and most of them were maxed out at some point, but I always pay down and I never pay interest. Now, how can I possibly do that? If you know you have a big purchase coming up, get a credit card that has a promotion where that promotion gives you a certain amount of time. For example, I have a Chase Unlimited, which gave me a balance transfer for 15 months. That's over a year with no interest, and I can pay it down as I please. Now, if you want some electronics or you want something like that, you might want to get a Barclay card with Apple. And that card, whatever Apple product you buy, whether an iPhone, headphones, or anything like that that's from the Apple store, they give you like 16 months to pay it off, sometimes 12 months, sometimes 8 months, even 6 months, which that means that it gives you time to pay it off, but guess what? You're not paying interest on it. Interest adds up, it adds up, it adds up, and the only person that profits from it is those credit card companies, not your credit score, none of that. If you want to build your credit score, use your credit card every single month and pay it off every single month. That builds up your credit history, it builds up your credit report, but having money that you owe does not help your credit score. Now guys, the third one that I've actually found is people are partying too much, right? And when I say partying too much, I don't just mean like, oh my gosh, I'm going to this party, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, blah, blah, blah. I actually mean like there's a lot of people in their 20s, like teenagers and stuff like that also. They're constantly just want to party, want to go on vacations, want to take cool Instagram pictures, and they're constantly like just spending a lot of money on these things. Now, you guys know me, so you guys know that for me, everything is a balance. And for me, if you want to do something, there's a way that you can get it done without like having to like ruin your entire future just on going on vacation. Listen, I know a lot of people out there that are constantly telling me, Tommy, I went here, I went there, I went over here, and I asked them like, hey, by the way, what's your net worth now? And they're like, oh, what is that? You know what I mean? They have no financial guidance, they don't know anything about finances, and they don't have money at all. Like, they go there, they spend all their money, then they're back, and they have to work to make that money back so they can go back and make that experience. But guess what? Poor people buy memories, rich people buy investments. Those investments eventually end up paying for those memories that you want to buy. Always think like that. Now, guys, when I say partying, the way that you would actually do it is, for example, I like to party sometimes. Not really, it's not kind of my thing, but I like going out to get like burgers. I like going out to the movies. I like doing like, I like playing games, like, you know, like going to the Dave and Buster's and stuff like that. And trust me, like, I like a lot of things. And one of my goals is actually to buy a Tesla, and one of the models is like $124,000. So I like expensive stuff. I have an eye for it, right? But I learned how to manage my expenses in a way that I budget for the things that I don't need. For example, if I know I just want to have fun doing something, guess what? I'll spend that week budgeting for it, and then when I do it, I feel much better. Why? Because I know although I'm spending that money on that thing, guess what? It's not costing me my future. It's not costing me my freedom. Now, the fourth money trap that I found is buying an expensive car. Here's the deal, right? You just graduated from college, you just graduated from high school, and all your friends, and I actually just heard a story about one of my friends, so kind of to like explain this, let me use this story to kind of help you, right? One of my friends just recently bought a Ferrari, and mind you, he's not rich, he's not any of those things, but he works like for the army, and he's making a decent amount of money, and I think he's leasing a Ferrari, or he's like paying for a Ferrari. I don't know what model it is. Like, a friend of a friend told me what he just did, and I'm kind of surprised by it. Now, you might say, Tommy, that's not a bad thing. Let the guy live. He wants a Ferrari. You're only going to live once, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it's not really intuitive. It's not really a good idea. Why? Let me explain this to you, right? You know Ferrari is a very expensive car, right? You know that because you're smart. So you know it's like over $100,000 car. Maybe $60,000 if you buy like a used one. Actually, no, I have never heard about a Ferrari that's like $60,000. Let's just say it's $100,000, and let's say they're giving him like 5 years to pay it off. So you guys know I love my calculator because I like doing the math for you guys so you guys can actually keep up with what I'm saying, right? So let's say the car costs $100,000, and that's through 5 years, right? 5 times 12, that's 60 payments, right? He has to make 60 payments toward it. He's making $1,666 a month in car payments, which is insane. And let's say insurance, because he's young just like I am, so he's like 23 or whatever. So let's say insurance is like another $200 for a car like that. And boom, boom, boom. Let's say gas is another like $200 a month. Boom, boom, boom. So let's say on average he's spending $2,000 a month on having that Ferrari just to look fancy to get from point A to point B. And if me and him were getting to a place, guess what? He's going to get there in a Ferrari. He's going to look very fancy. But if I'm in a Honda, I'm going to get there pretty sure at the same time because of traffic. Now, $2,000 a year, that's $24,000. And if you do $24,000, guys, look, guys, I just like math because it breaks down ideas, you know. And so if you're making a bad mistake, math isn't gonna lie to you. Numbers don't lie. So if you do 24,000 for the next 50 years of your life that you probably have left, that's a million. Wow, that's $1,200,000 that you just wasted on an expensive car when you could have literally just bought a decent car, a nice car, like used it to make more money, and they buy used cars. Guys, by the way, if you haven't seen one of my videos, I always say this. There's a study done. It's The Millionaire Next Door, and they say it in the study. They say the average millionaire in America, 4 out of 5 buy used cars. So if a millionaire buys used car, who the hell do you think you are to buy a Ferrari? Not hating on anyone, but just pointing out the clear facts. Now, the fifth and probably the most important trap is buying an expensive house. And the reason I say this is because from a childhood age, since like we were 5 or 7, we've been conditioned, a lot of us, by our parents, by our friends, our partners, our teachers, and all these people. They talk to us about houses and buying expensive houses, you know, and we see it all the time when we see rappers and we see singers and we see all these celebrities living in these expensive houses in Beverly Hills, and we want to kind of like shoot for that, right? And you guys kind of don't mind because you might say like, it doesn't matter, Tommy, I'll buy a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom house. It's a mansion. I really love it. People come over to my house. They're always like looking at those windows. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And guess what? I can take 30 years to pay it off. Yes, I'm paying a $3,000-$4,000 mortgage, which is around 75% of what I actually earn a month. But who cares? You know, I'm living well. I can afford to pay it. You actually can afford to pay it, but you really can't afford to pay it, because long term, if you had just like, by the way, guys, everything I do, everything I say, I use examples, by the way, if you haven't noticed, right? So if Warren Buffett lives in a 2-family home, I think with like 3 or 4 bedrooms, and he's a billionaire, who the hell do you think you are living in a 5-bedroom apartment when you're making like $4,000-$6,000 a month and paying a mortgage is around 80% of your salary, so you only have 20% to actually do whatever you want to do? It's not a really good idea, and I don't like it. So guys, whoever told you that about this like housing, the American dream, and all this nonsense, try to live with your parents until you can buy your first investment property. Once you buy your first investment property, and that means that you're gonna buy the house, you're gonna live there, but you're also gonna rent. Once you can do that and kind of live for free, then you can actually move out. And that's what I believe in. And at some point, you're gonna get so much residual income, which means that you're basically getting paid for money that you're not actually working for. You're gonna make so much residual income at some point that you can buy whatever type of house you want to buy, but you're not the one that's gonna be paying for it because you've done so many investments that you can actually afford to do it the right way. Now, the 6th one that I did find is people are not investing enough. And yes, I say not investing enough. Now, when I say investing, I mean direct proportion of, for example, the stock market, investing in yourself, investing in courses, improving your skills. And a lot of people here on YouTube are always talking about, for example, I'm not going to name any names, I'm not going to name drop, I'm not no snitch, but a lot of people are always talking about like, hey, don't go to college, don't do this, don't do that, and they make it seem like everything is so easy. But there's a lot of people out there that aren't entrepreneurs. And by the way, there's another study done on this. I only come with facts to these videos. There's another study done, I think it's like 3 in 5 millionaires, a lot of them have a job. A day job, right? So it doesn't matter. Don't believe all these people that you see on the internet saying like, oh my gosh, you can drop out of college, you can do this, you can do that. I finished college. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting, and I haven't used it whatsoever, but I have it, you know what I mean? And a lot of my friends, they have jobs, you know, and at some point when I first started my career in like entrepreneurship, I was kind of jealous, you know, because I was making $60 a week. You understand that? I was making $60 a week while my friends were working like 40 hours and making like $500. And I was like, yes, I understand that. I'm going to make this $60 probably for like the next 3 months, but I'm going to break and I'm going to crack it and I'm going to make more money than they do without having to put in the work. But it doesn't matter. And obviously now I make a lot of more money, right? I don't make $60 anymore. I'm very happy to say that. But a lot of my friends are still working that job and they feel like they're stuck. They need to become an entrepreneur, but not everybody has what it takes, a thick skin to become an entrepreneur. And if you don't, you still just gotta be smart. You don't need to be like a superhero. You don't need to be the smartest person in the world to become a millionaire. Everything is about compounding interest. Now, if you're working a job and you're making like say per se like $2,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, all the way up to $10,000, the basics of finance are still the basics. So invest your money, put it in an index fund, put it in savings accounts, put it into businesses. If you're not smart, hire someone that is smart. And guys, when I say investing is simple, a lot of people try to complicate things. A lot of people come to my videos and they're trying to find like the newest piece of information and then switch up their entire thing. Listen, guys, a lot of the information that I know, I learned that from a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. And if you don't know anything about that book was written like around 2,000 years ago. So not written 2,000 years ago, but it's based on a probable that was around 2,000 years ago. So the same rules that apply to money 2,000 years ago, they still apply now. So don't complicate anything. Like, it's basically have money for your emergencies, have money to invest, have money to pay back your debts, have money to cover your expenses, have money so you can have fun, so you can actually feel good, and have money for charity. It's very simple. It's not hard. It's not complicated. It just takes consistency and hard work. Now, the 7th trap that I've actually found is in your 20s and 30s is inactivity. And yes, this one came directly from me. Guys, I see a lot of people these days that are inactive. And what I mean by inactive is a lot of people are stuck, complacent. And it's 20s to 30s, by the way, this is like a very important chapter in your life, right? Because this is the beginning of the end of your life, like I like to say, right? Because whatever you choose between 20 to 30, most likely you're going to be stuck there for the rest of your 30 to the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So that's what I believe. So guys, if you're in a job that you don't like, take that risk, take that leap, so you're not 60 or 80 and you're commenting on my video and you're saying, Tommy, I should have done it, I should have done this, I should have done that. I'm going to be like, yo, bro, that's a great story, but you just should have done it. You know, from 20s to 30s, it's very easy to take risks. You probably don't have any kids. You probably don't have a lot of bills. If you do, just cut them out. Watch some of my previous videos. You're wasting money on a lot of things. If you don't know, subscribe to this channel, by the way. Like, you don't need a lot of things, so you can take a lot of risks, and you don't have a lot of responsibilities, and people are usually more open to you risking things. You know what I mean? So, guys, if you're in your 20s to 30s, these are the 7 money traps you want to avoid. My name is TommyBryson. If you don't know me, you're gonna know me. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.